right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the, it's Monday, October 14th meeting of the Clausen Board of Ethics. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we can move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. If we can move on to roll call.
Commissioner Fenton? Here. Commissioner McGinnis?
Here.
Commissioner Nushai?
Here.
Commissioner Quinn?
Here.
Commissioner Traxel?
Here.
Okay. So at this point, we'll move on to the public comment portion, if there's any.
Hi, Erin Redmond. I guess kind of questions. I do have to be back to soccer soon, but I did want to be here. I don't know if there's parts of this hearing that you might need me for questions, but I did want to make sure I was available. I can always come back after I pick up from soccer. I also sent an email today, and one, I think it was last week or maybe a week and a half ago or so. So I just want to make sure my emails were received. If not, I wanted to be able to.
I'm looking, I don't recall seeing the emails.
Zero emails from me?
I didn't get it,
Yeah, I'm looking right now, I've got 0 emails.
but I don't have, I still have a problem with my city email address, so I might be the outlier, but.
Yeah, no, I believe I'm getting the emails in general, along with the new email address that was set up.
So
That
I
was supposed to
asked
capture
the
us.
clerk for emails because I wasn't sure how everyone else the last hearing got your emails, but it wasn't available. She did send me the link for the emails.
Yep.
And that's the link I used to email you guys. So I tried to provide you with further context. I realize planning and zoning is kind of a complex subject. So to understand the nuances of it and my complaint, I wanted to kind of provide you guys with information. So it is a little frustrating that you didn't get my emails. It's not your fault, obviously.
Yeah.
But it just it kind of makes me feel like I'm not given the same opportunity to provide you guys with information as maybe other people are. So, so my questions, all right, so no email. I don't know if the agenda has changed. The only information I received was the same things from the last hearing. So it seems like you guys are just going to go about it with that, except for separating the complaints. But I just didn't know if there was other things that I needed to address because I wasn't informed of it.
Sure. Well, if you want, we can kind of move forward to the next steps. What time do you have to leave?
I got to pick up by 7:30.
Okay. Let's move to the next steps then real quick, and then we can circle back, okay?
Sure.
Yeah, no, you'll have an opportunity to present whatever you want to present. So if you send something via email, and for some reason we didn't get it because of our servers or something like that, then we would definitely want to take that into consideration.
And
Okay.
sorry, is there a way that, I don't know if it's mandatory that you have a decision made today or not, but some of that information I would like for you to be able to process. That's why I sent it
Sure.
a week ago, and be able to analyze it fully and give it the full opportunity to, soak in. So I don't know if there's still an opportunity for me, I can show you proof that I sent it. If there's an opportunity for me to actually get the email to you guys tonight, I would really appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, we can,
Thank you.
we'll figure out the logistics of that
Okay.
then. So before you have to leave. Any other public comment? No? Okay. Move on to new business. So the first one is the approval of the minutes from the January 22nd, 2024 meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Clarification, I'm not sure it's the September 23rd meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong, I read the wrong thing. So I'm trying to do your recent email off the phone.
And if we're good with that one, I kind of missed the motion in second.
I made a motion for September 23rd minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Nice second.
Thank you.
I didn't catch the.
And I am just making sure I'm not missing.
Did you need another agenda?
What's that? I've got it on the phone here. I just want to double
I can
check
give
to
you
make
mine
sure
if
there's
you wanna
nothing.
follow.
Nope, this is fine. Just double checking. Oh, yeah, you can put it to vote.
Commissioner Fenton?
Yes.
Commissioner McGinnis?
Yes.
Commissioner Newshy?
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn?
I have a question. Since I was not at that meeting, should I not approve?
My understanding is you don't have to abstain if you weren't
Yeah.
present. You're
I don't
voting
have-
on the minutes that were presented to you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I approve.
Okay.
Commissioner Traxel?
Yes.
Okay, now moving on to the new business, continuing, which is kind of a continuation of the last time, has to do with the ethic complaint that was brought against Nick Stepnitz, the Assistant City Manager, and Rennis Newshy, City Attorney. So when we left last time, I think we left with some questions, and I don't know if we really have an answer to those questions yet. So the first thing is, one of the things that I think we had left with was a determination, one, if I should be required to recuse myself. So I was looking for some kind of opinion. So again, I'm not sure the logistics of how we go about that, to
Well,
obtain
I
that.
tried to answer it in the email that I responded to you with the information that I had. My understanding of recusing yourself is it has to be you're recusing yourself if there's a financial interest of some sort. Then you would have to recuse yourself.
So your interpretation is that there's only a conflict if there's a financial interest under anything that would fall within the board?
I mean, as far as.
I mean, as far as, I know, I mean, financial, I think, is one way that you can have a conflict, but I think even within our ordinance itself, there's other mechanisms which there could be conflicts. I know Commissioner Newshy recused himself based specifically and really solely on a familial relationship.
Correct.
So that, which is not a financial relationship, but a familial relationship. And so
That would be correct. So that is another, but the point that this board has been formed to hear the complaints as they're presented.
And I understand that we were formed to hear the complaints as presented. But again, I mean, I know for myself, the last thing I want to do is act in a way that would then violate, even just the general spirit of what this ordinance is, which is why I was hoping to have a little bit more detailed opinion. The other thing that ties to that is, I understand that there's a complaint against Nick and a complaint against Rennis. However, when you read the complaint, it's intertwined such that it seems difficult to just parse one out from the other as is, without some further clarification as to how we should take the steps to do that. That was why we had sent the, kind of the email. So I do have your email here, which is why we continued with this meeting today, because I think you had initially called for the meeting to either be last week or today, and I know we weren't able to do last week, was able to do it today, so that was the other thing. The other thing I had a question on too, then I guess even taking it one step further from that, was this meeting that ended up being called by the city clerk, again, just procedurally, and I guess this may reflect or be more indicative of some of the issues we have with the board, is the process to even bring that forward. So again, we left with questions. I'm here tonight, and I don't feel like, for example, I don't feel like I have an answer either way, unless I am missing something as to whether or not I know or whether there's an actual conflict for me to be able to preside and vote. I know my own personal opinion on it, but that's not what I was kind of looking for guidance on. So I don't think we are any further as to that. And then again, my concern when it comes to the Nick and the Rennis one, again, the complaint as written, and I went through it again, it just seems so intertwined in facts, details, and circumstances that unless there's an opinion saying how it should be parsed out or how it should be separated, I'm concerned that one can't rule on one without
Stepping on the other.
stepping on the other one. And
Well, I have an idea. Maybe we can ask the complainant to go back and separate them. Maybe.
we can do that. We can do that, and which would make it easier going forward with this. That still doesn't answer, though, again, like I said, I still personally don't feel comfortable moving forward with rendering an opinion either way unless there's something a little bit more.
Do we need a legal opinion for?
Well, first, let me just say that, first of all, there's not a budget to do a legal opinion. This board was formed
Okay.
to hear the complaints, so this is how I've been given it, and that's why I addressed the answers the way I did, based on
Okay.
what I was told. So I think that you have an opinion before you on the case. Whether or not you want to ask Ms. Redmond to go back and split it, that's, I guess, up to you. However, the opinion has been given regarding the complaint as it was presented, and the facts that were there. And so I believe this board could move on that behalf with that opinion that they have.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean, I had asked specifically about the process for selecting the attorney and in hopes of understanding what safeguards are in place in the administration's process for procurement and internal controls around selecting a vendor in relation to potential conflict of interest. So if the city is asking the board to make a determination based solely on a legal briefing of an attorney that we don't understand the potential conflict of interest for, I feel uncomfortable making a.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, I'm not going to speak for the city attorney by far. However, our city attorney is being named in this complaint,
Yeah.
so he can't act on behalf, so he would be
I
here
know,
to
I'm
speak
just-
to that.
but what is
if
the
he could.
process? What
So
is the
he has a
administration's
process. If
process?
that happens, he has a process that he follows.
No, what
So-
what is the city's procurement process for getting legal opinions and how are we vetting
The
for
city attorney
potential
has a
conflict?
process.
That
So
concerns
if
me more
well,
than if it was the city's process.
he has to have a process because he is the
What is the
attorney.
city's process? It should be the city's procurement process.
Well, we have a city attorney. We have a city attorney that takes care of the city. And
No,
so
but
that city attorney being
Just like
named in
any other
this,
vendor that would be chosen by the city,
he
this should be the
has a
same.
process
What is the city's process?
to let our city attorney use his process.
Does it say in writing anywhere that that exists as a process or a procedure?
I didn't ask for that, so it probably is.
I don't feel comfortable moving forward until we get more understanding, because I understand your constraints, but I also want to be very clear that it would be irresponsible, in my opinion, to have a finding based on a briefing, procured by the person named in this complaint, without having clear safeguards to understand that precautions were taken to prevent any potential further conflict of interest.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is no commentary at all on Mr. Koulis, who I know is here in the audience as well. There's no commentary on that. I believe what you're asking for is just, again, I mean, it might be as simple as the attorney has a process. This is the process to ensure that that process itself doesn't inherently breed its own conflict tied in. And, so, I mean, do you know what that process is? What those safeguards are?
My understanding is there's a list of attorneys and it rotates depending on what the case is, and he uses that rotation, so he doesn't pick and choose. His office has a process so that if he's named in something, that it leaves his hands and goes to that attorney. And the attorney that was chosen was in the list of the process and the list that they follow. So that's all I can tell you, is that's my understanding. And I believe that there was no more than asking Mr. Koulis to do the opinion. He was asked to do it from our city attorney's office. It's not like that, Mr. Nushai went out and picked an attorney to do it. He does have a process that he follows, and it has come up before. So he's used the same processes that he has used before.
So procurement is not done through the city of Clausen. It's done through Mr. Nushai's firm.
With it. He's our city attorney.
I'm want
So,
to
yes.
clarify, okay.
We wouldn't be able to choose an attorney on our own. We would use our city attorney to do that.
All right, and again, just so I'm clear then on, because again, there's a couple of points. So the first point, I guess, to make it a little bit easier, because I don't think we're going to get any further guidance on this, is if, Ms. Redmond, your complaint that you have drafted, I know you have some additional information you want to provide to us in general? Yeah, of course, yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I just didn't know if I should.
No, you're good. I know you have some additional information that you tried to provide to us that didn't go through, so naturally, we want whatever you have to
Yeah.
provide. But I would request, and I don't even know if this is fully proper to do, other than just, I don't know.
Well,
It's
it-
going to put us at a standstill without it, I feel like.
I did concede, and I realized you didn't get the email now. I thought maybe you got it, and that's why you scheduled this meeting. I did concede to, I'm happy to separate them.
Yeah.
Although the city charter does request, or does say that you shouldn't serve on more than one board. You shouldn't be a board that has the opportunity to oversee itself, in essence. So I still think that there is a conflict with Laurent, seeing as how he does serve on other boards. But we'll get through that, whatever. I'm happy to
Yeah, if
provide
that's-
you.
Yeah, if you want to raise it, whatever challenges you wish to
Sure,
raise
and
towards conflict, you can raise it.
I don't want to muddle this too much with all the
No.
other things going on, but it just, it's kind of the essence of what's happening is like, so I'm happy, what I said in that email is I'm happy to separate the two and provide further clarification, clean it up for you guys so that I can make assertions on each side so that you're able to separate them. Happy to do that. And just, we've chosen attorneys for other things, although by ourselves. I do want to say that. We did it for the Charter Commission. City Council has done it many times. But yes, I can do that, and I hate taking nights away from you guys as much as I hate missing nights away from my kids. So
No, I just.
I
don't-
apologize that it's such a process.
No, it's okay. I apologize. No, I do too. Like I said, I mean, I would rather, I'd rather us try to come to the best conclusion on this in the most fair and unbiased way than try to just rush it to rush it. And again, it's, so, I mean, I think that would at least help us a little bit, because whether it's Mr. Newshire, or whether it's myself, or however, I guess, once we make a determination, it'll just be easier for us to then decide how we're gonna proceed.
Okay, and I'm
And
happy to
again-
do that as long as I know it gets to you guys. So maybe there's a way you guys can provide me with your city email addresses. I promise I won't spam you, just to send over that new information, and I'm happy to do that. So, and I thank you again for taking another night away and agreeing to do one in the future. Thanks.
Well, our city emails should be public, so can we just state our email addresses right now for the
Well, for
record?
clarification, that is the city emails the link that I gave you. And I tested it with all the board members, and they
Yeah.
received
Yeah.
everything, so
Yeah, so
I'm not
I'll-
certain what happened. I
Okay.
didn't get it either.
Okay, I mean, I can show you that I'm
I'm
not
saying you didn't
lying.
do it.
Yeah.
I know that I asked everyone's confirmation that they received their emails once we set up that link for it to
Yep.
be amongst all the boards, and I think I heard from everyone, except for Ms. Fenton, and I tried to ask you to meet up with someone here at City Hall so we can get yours working, but it was sent to your city email, because that's the link that, we don't want to put your personal
Yeah,
one
that's
on
fair.
that link. So it was sent, the email link that I did for all the board members so that they can communicate, because there was emails that came up from the last
Yeah.
meeting. I wasn't aware it wasn't out there, so I did get on it, and we fixed that, and I tested it.
Yeah.
So where yours went, I have no idea, because I didn't receive it either.
It showed up, like, because I used the previous email I sent last week to copy and paste for the new email I sent this morning, and it said ethics complaint, something Clausen.
You
So,
sent that one last week, too?
yep, I sent two. So,
Yeah, so-
and I'm not saying it's your fault or anybody's fault, but I think I'd feel best if you were comfortable and if you were able to give them, out loud, so it's not, because that link just took me to like a general, and I get it, planning commission sometimes work that, it's not a list of all your separate, it's one that is supposed to like take me to all of them, so it would be helpful, I think, for me, if you could just say them, or after the meeting, however you want to do it.
I'll just say that for the way that the city council one works is it is one email. And so this board was set up that way as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because we don't, I think the last,
Yeah.
well, there was only 3 here, but I heard from different ones that they didn't get the email. So the point is to have everybody emailing on the same string so that there's not any violation.
Right.
Right.
of Open Meetings Act, which is what was being discussed at the time.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Yes,
Yeah.
And that's
yes.
why I set it up as a group email, so
Yep.
that
That
when
makes
you
sense.
send something, it goes to all the board members equally, not picking and choosing which board member you want to send it to.
Right.
And I'm not saying you did that.
No,
I'm saying that
I
it
didn't
didn't
have
come
the
into me
ability.
either.
Yeah. Okay.
And I included the clerk on it for that reason, because I've got to have the record.
For sure.
And if I'm not copied on the email, which I wasn't copied on any of those emails that they were reading, so I made it clear with one link. So
So
we'll
however you
have to
feel is
test it.
best, I'll be happy to comply with that. If that means that I'll resend the emails and refresh and use that link again and then call you tomorrow to confirm, I'm happy to do
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yep.
I want to know if it works or not, but
Sure.
I know the board members all answered me that it was working, so I
Yeah.
felt we were good to go. When I
Yeah.
gave it to you, I had already checked with them.
Well, and it's kind of ironic. I was like, oh, they must have got my email saying that I conceded these things and that's why they rescheduled. So I assumed that you guys had gotten it, because you do have the availability or the ability as a board to reach out to both me and him. He hasn't reached out to me at all to write his analysis, but you have the ability to ask me questions. In the ethics ordinance, it says that. So I want to make sure that you're able to ask clarifying questions. But I'll do that.
Let's
I'll
check it.
resend it. So, thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, at this point right now, I guess even as I sit here right now, again, if we're talking about the internal conflict, I don't know where to go from that, because if the rule is that I decide whether or not I have a conflict of interest, I feel that, again, we've created a board with no additional check even on the board itself for something as simple as that, because
Well, recusals are personal, you know that better than most.
Sure.
Okay, and if anybody and any out there in this great city has an issue, they bring suit over. So it's not, recusals are personal. There are guidelines out there.
there are guidelines, yeah.
Okay, and if you believe that the guidelines apply to you, you should recuse yourself, just like I did for myself. But that doesn't mean that somebody's going to come and teach us here to recuse ourselves or not. But that's my opinion anyways. But you as an attorney, you should know better than most how recusals work.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, I mean, I know they are, personal, there are certain mandatory requirements that would mandate it.
Right.
In some which are gray areas, and again, we're dealing with, whenever we're dealing with stuff that becomes more politicized than it needs to be, I think it's just, I think that was the clarification. But
Right.
at least as it relates to, we now have some new information coming forward, we'll separate the complaints out. And I guess if it's clearly separated, we can at least then, address it, one, the other, however we wish to do it at that point. We're going to solve that tonight. And then as it comes down to Mr. Coolis's opinion, then I guess, as with anything that's presented to us, we'll just take his opinion as it's presented, as any other statement. And then we give it the weight that we see fit. Okay? I mean, I know we were looking for some clarification, I know, on how the process is, what the process is, but apparently if we don't have that clarification, then again, then we're just dealing with the weight of.
Would you not give Mr. Coolidge the opportunity to speak to his opinion?
If Mr. Coolis would like to speak to his opinion right now, I'm not one to put somebody on any kind of seat or bring them up, because one, I'm not gonna put in a position to either divulge any potential conversations that might not be appropriate or not, and also, I think our line of questioning, in a way, really has nothing to do with Mr. Coolis himself or the opinion that he has given. But I don't doubt that I have no reason to doubt that Mr. Coolis has taken the directive, has given, from his perspective, an unbiased opinion. I have no reason at all to sit there and question his integrity or his ethics at all. Like, our questioning just had to do a little bit more with the general process, because that was raised, and that was a concern coming from the people that were here last time.
But is that a question that we should be the ones answering, or should that be a question that's given to city council?
Should probably go back to council. I mean, it should go back to council. I think that's what when we were here last time with just a few of us, I think the issue was we just didn't know what the avenue was
Right,
to do that. I think that's again, part of the limiting nature of the board that we have before us.
So that being said,
Yeah.
if that's not a question for us, then we're presented with an opinion from an attorney that you yourself just said is an unbiased.
No, I said I have no reason to
Or,
suspect.
okay,
anything.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else on the board, I have no reason to suspect that.
No.
So why can't we move forward with what's presented before us? The
Today.
complaint, yeah, the complaint. We have an attorney's
I mean,
opinion.
I still don't, I mean, I still think the two complaints are so intrinsically combined that, I mean, I don't know how Mr. Nushai feels. He's recused himself from one.
Right, the question I have also, if the complainant is willing to separate them, are we gonna need an amended opinion from Mr. Coolidge as well? Or not?
That was my question as well. There's no date on this opinion. I'm guessing this is the original opinion.
It is,
Right.
yeah, it's gotta be.
And the complainant, like I said, has apparently attempted to email us, and through problems through our own city server,
Sure.
we've not received certain information. And so, I mean, I don't want to punish somebody for that either, that wishes to have their information entertained. I don't know.
Is there a cutoff to that, though? I mean, I know that it took us a long time to hear the complaint, but the complaint was written in May.
Yeah. And if, I don't know if her update had to do with the fact that we had some questions and some discussions during the last
Fair.
meeting. I don't know because I haven't had a chance to see it, you know. But those are my thoughts. I don't know what's everybody else's thoughts on how to proceed or proceeding or.
I think we should take it back to the complainant. I don't know. She's willing to do it, so might as well. So we can have, but I digress.
I don't feel informed enough to be part of the vote tonight.
Meaning to take it back to her?
Yeah, I mean, as in, because Dana was suggesting, could we just hear, I would abstain at this point.
Oh, I see.
don't feel like I have enough information. And if, is our quorum 3, Michelle?
3.
Yes.
3, so I guess that you guys could still do it, even if you had to recuse for one of the complaints. We'd still have a quorum, but I'm just stating that I personally don't feel equipped to take a vote on either complaint tonight.
No, I understand.
I have a question for our clerk, if I may. If we make a motion to dismiss these two complaints tonight, to bring it back to the complainant, to file new ones, do you think that's proper, or should we just table this and let her amend it, or what do you think?
I would think that, that you could dismiss, because I've honestly, what I'm hearing right now, I'm only hearing that
Right.
she's sending more information. I'm wondering at what point did that complaint
Becomes a new one, or?
become open-ended?
Yeah,
The complaint was filed back in May,
right.
and the documents you have is what we received. That was the packet that we received. I'm not saying that she's welcome to speak to her complaint
Yeah.
and answer questions, but I'm wondering at what point do you keep adding on to a complaint that was filed so long ago? I don't know what was in her email. I have no idea whether or not it helps you or hurts at
Yeah.
this point, because I haven't seen it either. But I think that if you're directing her to go back to split them up, which, from what I read in the complaint, they're
They're intertwined, yeah.
they are, because the city attorney is obviously actively involved in everything that we do. So the city attorney is going to be, it's not Mr. Stepnitz working on his own, obviously, right? So I'm a
Well, I
little
mean,
confused.
I think at this point, we can't really make any determinations as to which person did what or who did what on their own or anything like that. I don't think it's appropriate to just say automatically, because the city attorney's involved, he's necessarily driving the force on everything equal, because we basically are saying that if we're finding one, by default, we have to find.
But our complaint forms
That's not,
can be used to
Yeah.
surgically
yeah,
act upon the decisions that Nick supposedly made or may not, and so did Renan. So
Yeah.
my opinion is since the complainant agreed that she can do it, might as well get rid of this one, take it back to her. She comes back with all the information that she's got, and then we'll take a hack of this when she feels more comfortable and with all the new information that she's got.
But we still have the question as far as you recusing yourself or not.
Well, I mean, I
Where
guess-
do we go from there? I mean,
Yeah,
we
I mean, at that point, it's just, at that point, it'll just, I guess, once we have the information of the new complaint, I'll base it off of my feeling of the decision, of what's there. And really, we'll just have to go from there,
Okay, fair enough.
you know? Like I said, I mean, to me, recusal tends to, when it's required, it tends to be upon actual serious factual basis and allegations. But not just a shared nexus of environment or something like that. Otherwise, people end up recusing themselves. You know, you can be stuck recusing yourself from, especially if you're heavily involved, from almost anything.
Especially a small city.
You know, especially in a small city, you know. But again, my concern, again, was looking back to, again, the intrinsic nature of the entire complaint. So I don't think it's wrong to say, at this point, can you please come back and refile as two separate complaints. I do want to say, I don't really give too much credence to the fact that this was filed way back in May, and now we're this far out, only because of the fact that that was largely on us as to why it's this far out. I think,
I believe it was all on us.
what's that?
It was all us.
That's what I said, it was all on us as to why.
Especially the clerk tried many times.
Yes, I know. It was all on us. So I don't want to sit there and say, well, if there's been a delay, like it's somehow the complainant's fault that there's a delay when there isn't. I think instead what we're looking at is something procedurally that the complaint in the form that it's in needs to basically go back and be refiled as two separate complaints. So we're not making a determination as to the factual nature or
The factual nature of them.
anything regarding it at all. We're just basically saying procedurally to.
Procedurally, we're closing it tonight.
We're closing this kind of mixed one tonight.
She'll open it.
Come back with it separated out. And, you know, ideally, that's probably how all the complaints should be coming forward before us to make it easier to determine
One person.
one person
Did what?
versus another.
So should we establish a time frame as to how far out we want to wait to reconvene?
Well, that depends on whenever
When
the new complaint's
yeah,
filed.
the new complaint's filed. So if she files a new complaint this week, separates them out and files them this week, then I think it's incumbent upon us to try to
Yeah.
get back here as quickly as possible, you know.
Correct.
Based upon the fact that we've already kind of, I mean, again, through our hands have caused this delay. You know, I don't think there's anything, I mean, I'm not sure of what additional pressing deadline we have with the complaint or anything, you know, so. So I think at this point, with everything that we've kind of talked about, I would probably make a motion at this point to, I guess, do we have to do this as separate motion? So a motion to dismiss the,
It would be a joint
It would be a
motion at this
joint-
point because you're asking her to separate.
That's
So
all. Yeah.
The complaint came in as,
As one.
I mean, they were separated on here because there's two people named.
Yeah.
But if you're asking for this complaint to be dismissed, then I would say one motion would do that.
Okay.
And then you've asked her to submit separately whatever her differences are with each complaint.
Yes.
Right? So I think one dismissal would be appropriate.
okay. Then I'd make a motion to dismiss the joint complaint that was filed against the Assistant City Manager, Nick Stepniks, and the City Attorney, Rennis Newshai, with further direction. Well, to dismiss it based on procedural grounds and allow the complainant to go back and refile the matter as separate complaints.
A second?
Okay. Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Newshy?
I abstain.
Commissioner Quinn?
Yes.
Commissioner Traxel?
Yes.
Commissioner Fenton?
Yes.
And if I may, I abstain for the reason since Rennis is still
Sure.
part of this complaint. I don't want anybody to have any ideas that I'm still influencing into this,
Yeah.
which I clearly don't feel like doing.
Okay. So
I'm only related to him.
we don't pick who we're related to.
Unfortunately not.
So at this point, there's no other new business, so we're just moving on to Commissioner comments, if anybody has any comments.
I have a comment. I would like to apologize to Mr. Coolis for coming here again, and we would love to have you next time again. I would love to, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to speak on behalf of the whole body.
I love having any visitors to this, and they sit, so we're not just talking to ourselves on the screens. All right, nobody has anything else, then I think I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
A second.
Commissioner Nushai?
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn?
Yes.
Mr. Traxel?
Yes.
Commissioner Fenton?
Yes.
Commissioner McGinnis?
Yes. How do we notify her?
I'll let her know.
Okay.
I'll let her know this was dismissed and to have her resubmit.